Welcome to EGF Academy. I am Dr. Geetanjali. Today's topic is Biosphere Reserve. These are large areas of protected land. The national parks and wildlife sanctuaries are mainly forest areas, but the biosphere reserves are very large areas. They can even include 2 to 3 districts in it. In Biosphere Reserve, wildlife is protected. It means animals, plants, as well as people who are living there, they are also conserved here. Their traditional life means their way of living, their culture, and their knowledge, everything is protected here. The concept of Biosphere Reserve was launched in 1991 as part of the UNESCO's MAP. The UNESCO's Man and Biosphere program was launched in 1971, where they gave the concept of Biosphere Reserve that we should protect the entire biosphere. Biosphere includes everything along with animals and plants. It also includes humans too. India had started National Biosphere Reserve program in 1986. It promotes sustainable development. Inside a national park or wildlife sanctuary, no developmental activities can take place. But in Biosphere Reserve, developmental activities can be done. But it should be sustainable. It should not be as such which destroys the nature. Based on the local community effort, we can use the knowledge of the people who are living there because they have been living at that place for many years or even centuries. So they have good knowledge about that area and their activities are generally nature friendly. So we have to use it. And along with that, scientific activities have to be done so that conservation is done effectively. Mainly, Biosphere Reserve tries to balance economic and social development with preservation of nature. So nature has to be protected as well as social development has to be done and the economy has to be grown. Biosphere Reserve can also include national parks or wildlife sanctuaries because biosphere reserves are large areas. For example, this is Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve in Uttarakhand. This Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve is spread in 3 districts. This is first district, this is second, and this is third district. There are 2 national parks inside this Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve. These are Nanda Devi National Park and Valley of Flood National Park. So biosphere reserves are large areas and national park can be part of biosphere reserve. Biosphere reserves are divided into 3 parts. First is core area. Suppose this is one biosphere reserve. The innermost area in the core area. Here no human activity is allowed. Then comes the buffer zone, the outside of core area. Here tourism is allowed, grazing is allowed. Then transition zone, where human settlement is allowed. Also crop cultivation can be done. Now in this map, we can see this is Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve. This is core zone, which has 2 national parks. So this is core zone and inside the core zone, no human activity is allowed. Already these 2 are national parks and inside a national park, human activity is not allowed. Outside area is the buffer zone. This is buffer zone and then transition zone. This is transition zone, outermost area. So core area, this is the most protected area. It can have endemic plants and animals. And most important genetic reservoir is protected here. Genetic reservoir means animals and plant species. Core area gets protection like a national park. So no human interference is allowed here. Then buffer zone. The buffer zone surrounds the core zone. Now what happens when people live in this zone? The people require at least some access to natural resources. If access is not given, then people will definitely go to core areas and exploit those areas. Hence, the buffer zone is used as a buffer. And the humans are given some rights here. For example, limited tourism is allowed here, fishing is allowed, grazing is allowed, which is not permitted in core area. Apart from this, in this area, research educational activities can be done. In national park and wildlife sanctuaries, no research activities permitted. But in the buffer zone of Biosphere Reserve, these activities are permitted. The outermost zone is the transition zone. It is also known as zone of cooperation. There are human settlements as well as croplands, and there can be agricultural activities. Managed forest can be there. Also, economic activities can be done here. Sustainable economic activities. Now, what are functions of Biosphere Reserve? To manage genetic resources, it means to conserve the plant and animal species, to conserve endemic species. In Biosphere Reserve, whole ecosystem and whole landscape means the entire area is protected. So man-animal conflict can be reduced here. Cultures and the customs of tribals also get protection here. In developmental activities, sustainable development is done to strengthen 3 pillars of sustainable development. In any developmental activities, there is social development, economic and environmental development. All these 3 things are kept in mind here. Plus logistics support. It means the research activities are promoted and environmental education and training is given. There are total 18 biosphere reserves in India. The first biosphere reserve established was Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve, established in 1986. This is Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. It is spread in 3 states, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and Kerala. at tri-junction of these three states. The largest biosphere reserve is Gulf of Kutch, Run of Kutch. Smallest biosphere reserve is Dibru-Sekhova, this one in Assam. Other than these, there are cold desert biosphere reserve in Himachal, Nanda Devi in Uttarakhand. There is Panna, Achanakmar Amarkantak, Pachmarhi in MP, and in Odisha there is Simlipal, Sundarban in West Bengal, Kanchenjunga in Sikkim, Dihang Debang in Arunachal, then Manas in Assam, Nokrek in Meghalaya, Sesachalam in Andhra Pradesh, then Agastmalai in Kerala, Gulf of Mannar, Great Nicobar. These are all 18 biosphere reserves. Subscribe for more informational videos. You can join our affordable courses for NEET, NET JRF, and UPSC. Registration link is given in the description box.